Today we are checking out a brand new amp sim plugin by Bogren Digital, the MLC S Zero 93, which has the signature amp for the guitarist of Dimmu Borgir in it, Silenoz, not sure how to pronounce his name, but it is awesome. Let's dive in right away with a demo track. Check it out. All right, I really enjoyed that. I had a couple tones going on there and some switches with some pedals on and off and stuff. I'll get into the exact settings later on in the video. And of course, I used my new Schecter E1 Evil Twin SLS Elite, which is an awesome guitar, tuned to drop C sharp, and it has the Fishman Fluence modern pickups in it. For the clean tones, I used the neck pickup, and for the heavy tones, I used the bridge pickup. And yeah, I think overall, the plugin sounded really good, really gnarly, and definitely unique and aggressive with beautiful clean tones. So Bogren Digital makes some really cool products, some unique plugins. They've done some MLC stuff before, and I really enjoyed that plugin as well as the one knob version of that plugin. And it's cool that they're doing something different than just the standard 5150s and stuff like that. I've never seen another brand do MLC plugins, so that's great. And I also think that the overall quality of their plugins is great, so that's also a huge plus, of course. And a huge thanks to Bogren Digital for sponsoring this video, by the way. Now let's go over the details of what this plugin has to offer. So the MLC S Zero 93 amplifier is quite versatile. It looks cool too. I gotta admit that those amps definitely have a unique look to them. Now this amplifier is quite simple, but it still has 3 channels. And basically it's 3 modes. So there's one mode which is clean basically, another that is kind of crunchy, and the high gain mode. So there's a wide range of gain amounts basically, which is great, and that makes this plugin versatile. And I must add that the tone stacks are very musical too, just as real tube amplifiers. So you can really go crazy with the treble control, for example, or the bass control without it sounding unnatural or harsh. Let's take a quick listen to some DI tracks that I'm running through the plugin, and I'm just going to mess with the channel controls and the EQ controls so you guys can sort of hear what range they have to offer. Take a listen. Now the cab section is cool too. As with the other plugin, there's a modern cabinet as well as a vintage cabinet, and you can choose between various types of microphones and stuff. Let's do a quick A/B of the modern and the vintage cabinet. Take a listen. So yeah, that cab section is great. You can move the mics around and really customize the tone, which is also what I did for my own demo tracks. Move the mics around to find the sweet spot that works for you and the brightness that works in the mix. Now there's also the IRDX technology in the cab section, which basically emulates the non-linear characteristics of real speaker cabinets. And I want to give that another go. I did some videos on that before, but let's try it again. Let's A/B it. And then I'm also going to try that same function with an own IR that I made of my HESE Demon speaker. Let's take a listen. So yeah, that's an interesting feature. It's debatable, whether it's super realistic or not, but it does add a nice sort of saturation and a nice layer to it, and it does bring the guitars a bit more forward and makes them sound a bit more organic and a bit less flat, I guess you could say. So it's a cool feature to have in a plugin for sure. And even with my own IR, it sounded really good in my opinion. We also have a bunch of pre-effects or stomp boxes. One of them is the octaver, which I also used in the intro. It has 2 types of octave settings. And then we also have a distortion pedal with 4 different types of clipping, and then an overdrive pedal, kind of like a tube screamer. So let's go in and try those effects real quick so you guys can get an idea of how they sound. You can basically use the distortion and overdrive models to add more gain and change the texture of the amplifier. So that is cool. Take a listen. Really cool. So I like the distortion and the overdrive models a lot. The octaver is cool, but it doesn't seem to track the notes that I'm playing perfectly, especially the low notes. So that low C sharp string that I'm hitting, it doesn't seem to track that note very well for some reason. And then in the post effects section, we have a really nice sounding delay and a really lush reverb. I use those effects in the clean section, but let's play around with those so you can get an idea of how they can really make the sound more rich, wide and open. I really like these effects, especially for clean tones. Take a listen. So yeah, that sounds great. It made the tones so lush, and the reverb especially is quite tweakable, so you can make it sound like a smaller room or like a big cathedral. And the delay was really nice as well, especially with the ping pong setting, so that's awesome. So what did I do for my intro track? Well, for my main tone, I'm using channel 3 with a bunch of gain, boosted with the green overdrive pedal, the tube screamer if you will, adding some level, not adding any gain. And in the amplifier I'm also turning on the noise gate just to clear up the sound a little bit and to remove some unwanted hiss and stuff like that. And then in the cab section I'm using the modern cabinet, a blend of 2 microphones that I created myself, you know, a mix that would help the guitars to sit well in my mix. So let's take a quick listen to the isolated guitars. Nice, so that's my main tone right there. For the clean section where I went to the neck pickup, I went to the mode 1, so the clean channel of the amplifier, turned down the gain, and then I added some ambient effects, so some delay, which was set to a dotted 8th note, if I recall correctly, and some nice reverb. It sounded really wonderful. And in the cab section, I used the vintage cabinet for this tone. So let's take a listen to those guitars. That sounded really nice, quite wonderful. Now for the final section, I'm basically starting off with the main tone, but for those first chords, I'm turning off the boost just to make the sound a little bit more full and organic. And then in the second section, I'm turning on the octaver effect as well as the boost. And then in the final section, I'm turning the octaver off and just finishing with my main tone. Let's take a listen. All right, that's it. So you can do some really cool things with this plugin. And yeah, I think it sounds excellent. It's a unique sounding plugin, of course, based on a unique amplifier as well. So props to Bogren Digital for trying something new. I also enjoy the cab section, the pre and post effects. The octaver is cool, but it's not perfect in terms of the tracking, in my opinion. But that's not a huge deal unless you're a huge octaver fan. It might work better for leads, but as I'm mainly a rhythm player, that's what I tried it with. So yeah, thanks again to Bogren Digital for sponsoring this video. Really appreciate it. Check out their website to check out this new release. I'll put a link in the description below. If you want to support this channel, you can also buy something in my affiliate links at no additional cost. That would help out a lot. Or check out my web store where I sell captures and all that good stuff. Also, please hit the like and subscribe buttons and let me know in the comments down below what your thoughts are on this plugin, because I'd love to know. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram, of course. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers.